Sarah's Stampin' Retreat. Today we're going to be making 5 cards using this Brush Blooms stamp set and the coordinating die set. So it's a lovely floral stamp set with these gorgeous sentiments, and the die set is really nice because it's got these layered dies. So you've got 3 layers to each of these flowers and then 2 layers to the leaf. So I'm going to be using the dies a lot in this because I think they're quite different to anything else that we do, but we'll use the stamp set a little bit as well. So for first card, I've chosen one where I can show you all the different layers for each of the different pieces. So you can see here I've got the flowers. So these 2 are the small flowers and this one's the large one. And for each one I've got Flirty Flamingo on the bottom, I've got Magenta Madness for the middle layer, and I've got Melon Mambo for the top layer. And then for the leaves I've got Pear Pizzazz for the bottom layer and Old Olive for the top layer. So I'm just going to glue those all together. So I think with this larger flower, the easiest thing for me is just to line up this bit here and line up this bit over here, and then the rest kind of falls into place. And you can see you've got those parts on this one as well. So you've got this part here and this part here. So we're just going to line those up again. I've got a bit too much glue on here, so I'm just going to spread some on this bit of leaf. So I'll just pop that on there. I think that's actually quite a good tip. If you have too much glue on, don't just stick it on and hope for the best. Take some off, pop it on something else, because too much glue gets messy very quickly. So you can see I can just line up those 2 pieces again, and the rest all just kind of falls into place. And then with this smaller flower, you want to just line up this bit here. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue on here. My glue's been a bit drippy today. I've had it standing on its head, so, and it's quite full. So, and then on this one, I'm just going to line up. Can you see this bit here? Just kind of fits into there. And to be honest, because it's kind of a brush stroke effect flower, it's not like a really accurate flower or anything like that. So because of that, you can kind of get away with layering it up a few different ways. So I really wouldn't worry too much about it. So I've got that bit there, and I'm just dabbing these in this glue so that I don't get too much on it. And again, I'm just going to layer it. Do you see this notch here? And I'm just going to line that up with this one here. And in actual fact, I've actually layered these 2 slightly differently. You can just see that. They kind of look fine because they go with the flow. So just, if you're not quite sure where you want to line them up, just make it up as you go along. And then the leaves are super simple because you just want to layer up the stem. And I've got super sticky hands now, so I need to go wash them. So you'll notice as we go through today's video that I'm using a lot of black base cards, and that's because I really love the look of these bright flowers on the black base. So I'm just going to just layer up these pieces a second. So I'm just going to add, this is a 4-inch square piece of black cardstock that I'm layering onto a 4 1/4 inch piece of gold foil sheet, and then I've got a 5-inch square black card blank, basic black card blank. So I've got my layers then, and then I just want to do my sentiment. So I'm just going to use this really simple happy birthday sentiment. And I'm going to heat emboss it with gold, just to tie in with the background. So I'm just going to take my embossing buddy, run that across there, and then I've got my Versamark ink. So I'm just going to stamp that happy birthday on here, cover it in some gold embossing powder. So I'm going to grab my heat tool, turn it onto 2, and just heat emboss my sentiment. So I'm just going to cut this out. So then I just want to start building these flowers up onto this piece. And let's pop some little dimensionals behind here just to get that, give that one a bit of added lift. And I'm just going to use this bit of outside here just to pop along there. So I want to pop that up as well. And then I'm just going to stick this on here. And then I've got my gold basic pearls, which I love using. This is about my 3rd pack. And you get the silver ones too. I tend to use the gold ones more, so I go through quite a lot of those. But I have used quite a lot of silver as well. I do really like them. I just tend to go towards gold colours personally rather than silver. Just add a few of those little gold dots just to lift it a little bit. And then I'm going to add that to my card front. So that's our first card finished, and I'm really happy with that. So then for this next one, I'm going to do some stamping. So I'm going to use this flower, which is the smallest of the 2 flowers in the stamp set. And I'm going to use my Calypso Coral pad, and I've got a 4-inch square piece of petal pink cardstock here. I've got a 4¼ inch piece of gold foil sheet, which you can see is slightly battered, but it's fine because this one's going on top. And this is a 5-inch square Calypso Coral card blank. So I'm just inking up this flower. So my Calypso Coral ink pad needs a re-ink, and I bought this ink pad probably about 4.5 years ago when I started Stampin' Up, and I've not re-inked it yet, but I do have the re-inker, so I'm going to show you on screen how to re-ink it in case you come across this as well. And I'm just shaking the ink bottle just to make sure that everything's mixed in properly, and then I'm just going to squeeze that all the way over, and I'm going to go both ways. And then I know that some people also mix it on with like a bone folder or something. They kind of like really spread it in. I find that it's fine like this and it works for me like this. But if you're finding that it doesn't work, then by all means like spread it on with a bone folder or something. So then I'm just going to put 9 of these onto here. So I'm purposely doing the ones on either side first so that I can kind of place the one in the middle. So then I'm going to layer up these, which will go over one of these bits. So I'm just going to put a bit of extra glue on here. So for this flower, I've got Flirty Flamingo for the bottom layer, I've got Calypso Coral for the middle layer, and then I've got Terracotta Tile for the top layer. I've just added one of our little gold pearl embellishments in the middle of there as well. So I'm going to use this same happy birthday sentiment for this one, and I'm going to heat emboss it with gold again. So I'm just going to use my Versamark. So I'm just going to heat emboss this happy birthday with gold embossing powder. I'm going to glue that on there. And then I'm just going to grab a couple of dimensionals and pop them behind my flower. And I'm going to pop that on there. And I can glue this onto here. I think I do like this, but if I did it again, I'd probably move the happy birthday over a little bit so that maybe it was centralised in that piece there. And I'm just going to stick some dimensionals behind here. So for this next card, I wanted to use some of the brush stroke bits. So you've got a die here that cuts out these pieces, and you could cut it into the paper and have different colours underneath. I've cut them out and I'm going to use them like this. And so rather than cut the whole lot, I've just cut the end ones just from these, so that I didn't have to cut out the whole thing. So I have got these in Soy Saffron, in Crushed Curry, and in Petal Pink. And I've already made up these flowers. So this one is Petal Pink, Blushing Bride and Flirty Flamingo. This one is Crushed Curry, Mango Melody and Pumpkin Pie. And this one is Soy Saffron, Daffodil Delight and Crushed Curry. So then I've got these pieces of cardstock. So this is a basic black card blank, and it's an A6 card blank, so it measures 4 1/8 by 5 7/8 inches. And then this one is 3 3/4 by 5 1/2, and that is Flirty Flamingo. And this one is 3 1/2 by 5 1/4. The first thing that I want to do is just to stamp Happy Birthday in Memento Black ink onto each of these. And I cut these out, but what I should really have done is stamp them and then cut them out, because A, it would have been easier to make sure they're in the centre, and B, can you see I've got slightly broken print here because there's some embossing on the stamp. So I'm just going to use my black Stampin' Right marker just to touch that up, but I would advise that if you're doing this at home, just do the stamping first and then cut it out. But hey, I learn these mistakes so you don't have to, eh? I've just got Happy Birthday on each of those. You can see I've got a bit of black on there, which usually on any other card I would kind of cover over, put something over, but I kind of think this one's quite, where it's kind of like that watercolour wash, you don't really notice as much that it's like not supposed to be there. So I'm not too worried about that. Then I'm going to pop the card together, and I'm just going to pop my black piece onto my Flirty Flamingo piece. And I'll pop this piece into the black card base. And I'm just going to lay these out so I've got the spacing how I want it. I'm actually wondering whether I like that better actually. What do you think? Do you like the 3 flowers or the 2 flowers? I think I actually like those 2 flowers. I think it looks quite pretty. I think I'm actually going to lose this one, and I'm just going to use those ones. There we go, so that's our next card done. So for this card, I've got a 5x5 inch soft seafoam card blank, and then I've got this piece which measures 4¼ by 4¼ This pink piece measures 4½ by 4½ inches, and then for the flowers I've used Flirty Flamingo on the bottom, Magenta Madness in the middle, and Melon Mambo on the top. And for the leaves I've used Pear Pizzazz and Old Olive. So this is actually the exact same colour combo on the flowers and leaves as on this card that we made earlier, but I want to create a softer look on this one, so I've used the softer colours on the background. So to start with, I just want to make a wreath. So I'm just going to draw around this. This is just one of my ribbon reels. I'm just going to draw around it just to create the shape for my leaf. I've made a few wreath cards on my channel, so there are lots of different ways of making wreaths. The way I use the most often is with my Stamparatus, but I thought I'd try a different way this time. So the idea is that I want these to kind of go around the circle here. Now originally I was going to leave this bit bare, but I think seeing it like that, I don't really want to do that anymore. So I'm going to try stamping these Pear Pizzazz leaves around. And I'm stamping them fairly randomly so that it doesn't just look like they're all kind of in a big line. So I'm just masking some of that line around there, and then I think these will hopefully look nice around here. I might actually go back in with my marker and just kind of draw some lines, connect some of these up a bit, just to kind of make the whole thing a little bit more organic. So let's glue these flowers on. I'm just going to position them again just so that I know exactly where I want them. I'm just going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back of there. So I'm going to use my little happy birthday. It's just stamped with some, I've got some Melon Mambo ink, and I'm just going to pop it onto this soft seafoam cardstock. Let's try that again because that didn't work out very well. Looks better. So I think I'm just going to chop the end off there so that can kind of slip under there. Now I'm just going to cut this off at the back in line with the piece at the edge of the cardstock, and then I can just glue my card pieces together. And then I'm just going to put some dimensionals on the back of here. So that's that card finished. And for my final card, I'm going to use the black, the gold and the magenta. So I've got an A6 Magenta Madness card base. Then I've got this piece of gold card that's half an inch smaller than my card base, and this piece of basic black that's 1/4 of an inch smaller than the gold. Then this is cut from gold foil sheet with this die from the Plaid Builder die. So you get 2 big dies in this set, this one, and you can use them together to make loads of different types of checks. But I'm just going to use this one for this card. So I'm going to glue that over this black layer. And then I'm just going to trim the pieces off at the back. So now I'm going to use this for my Forever Friend sentiment, which I think is really cute. I'm going to gold heat emboss it. Then I've cut that down, and I've cut a piece of Magenta Madness cardstock that's 1/4 of an inch bigger. So I'm just going to glue those pieces together. And then I'm going to glue these pieces together too. And I'm just having a play with these flowers. I think I actually like it with just the 2 small ones rather than having the big one as well. Or maybe I could have them like that actually, quite like that. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So I'm going to pop some dimensionals on the back of here. Then that's my final card finished. And I feel like that's quite a cool, quite modern friendship card. So that's all of the cards that we've created today. I really hope that you've enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd appreciate you clicking like below And you can also press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will notify you when I've got new videos available. All of the products that we've used for today's video are listed in the description below with links that you can click through to buy, and there's also a host code there. So if you pop the host code into your basket before you check out, then I'll send you a free gift after the end of the month. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.